Hello, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to Patch Game Club.
The special Gentleman's Corner edition.
We have a sponsor. This week, Game Club is brought to you by Fallout Shelter. Oh, sorry, I read it wrong already. This episode is brought to you by Vault-Tec Industries and their newest vault building simulation, Fallout Shelter. The #1 hit mobile game is available now for free on the App Store and coming to Google Play on August 13th. Fallout Shelter puts you in control of a state-of-the-art underground vault. Build the perfect vault, keep your dwellers happy, and protect them from the dangers of the wasteland. Fallout Shelter is available now for free on the App Store and coming soon to Android on August 13th. For more information, visit falloutshelter.com. You'll be able to play starting on August 13th.
Android!
Fun game. We've talked about it extensively on the patch, but we've never...
We also have a Let's Play of it. Actually, Bernie, JD, and Teddy did a Let's Play that's up on Let's Play channel.
That's right. But this week, this video, we're here to talk about Massive Chalice, the game... Double Fine, right? Double Fine game.
That's right.
So this is a game that... It's a game that combines a lot of things I like.
Yeah.
Like the strategic turn-based movement of like an XCOM for the combat. It has, the role-playing elements. So overall, I guess we should start with like a broad description of the story.
Human genetics.
Human genetic experiments.
Selective
crossbreeding.
Yeah.
So it's a world where there's a lot of evil attacking, and there's a chalice that can power up and destroy all the evil, but it'll take the chalice 300 years to power up and be able to accomplish that.
Right.
So in the meantime, the humans need to kind of band together, defeat or protect the chalice, defeat the evil, and along the way, you build squads of people that you like, and you use them, but they have normal human lifespans, and they die. So you need to intermarry them to other people and make babies that can continue this,
a legacy of heroes.
This chalice protection.
Yeah, and as you level them up, basically, and then breed them, they pass on their experience and levels. So that's how you don't end up starting with level 1 heroes every cycle. You're increasing the level kind of as a legacy.
But if you fuck up, like I did my first playthrough and only use level 1 heroes to breed, you end up with a bunch of level 1 heroes.
You maintain that one.
Right. It was like, well, I had a bunch of great heroes I started with, and then as they began to die, I was fucked because I only had like low-level people in the background to
I
support
actually
them.
ran out of heroes at one point where because the only way you get them is by birth, or you can get one every now and again when the corruption attacks. If you fight it off, sometimes the reward is a hero or a baby. Or you have to actually do research, which takes a few years. And that will result in a bunch of heroes.
And every time you use the chalice to do that, to recruit heroes, every time you use the chalice for a specific function, every subsequent performance of that function takes longer and longer. So you definitely want to be careful and strategic about when you use it, because at first it's like, oh, I'll have to wait 3 years for a hero.
Yeah.
But then every time it's just a little longer.
Did this happen to you? So the way that you go about breeding your heroes is you have to build a keep. So you have to first do the research to put a keep on a claim-based spot of land. Then you assign a regent and a partner, and those two, and that's how you end up with babies, in case you didn't know. But I ended up with essentially, like, after Generation 1, I had an entire roster full of one family of one type. Because that's the other thing, is when they breed, what they end up producing is a character's 3 classes. Well, 3 main classes.
Okay, yeah.
And they produce one of that class. Now, if you mix the two together, you can get some interesting things like trick shots or boom
like
blow.
specialties, basically.
Yeah, it's like you take one of what 50-50 mix will result in a halfling. But I ended up with nothing but alchemists it's like the death blow surname.
Yeah. Well, the problem I had a similar problem, but slightly different, where I decided to designate one house to do all of my breeding, and then I realized their kids couldn't get married.
Oh, they can.
Well,
I accidentally discovered that when I created some
did you? Because I thought
relations.
they wouldn't show up as available for me to partner.
They may have been cousins.
Okay.
Okay. I guess firsties is okay, I suppose.
Yeah, if they're children or if they're like more directly related, they don't even show up as a possibility for a partner. Which really screwed me. So for a long time, I was struggling. I kept having to run my chalice to recruit new heroes in to basically try to diversify my bloodline.
I think my blood got a little thin, actually, because I noticed after a few of that cycles of oopsie incestuous relations, I ended up with a bunch of sickly, puny. These are different attributes that they can end up with, and I have a bunch of them that are sickly, puny, clumsy. So watch out when you're doing it.
There's some also who are what my least favorite attribute is pessimistic,
I
which
don't
is
think I've ever even seen that
if you
one.
have, like, for example, let's say you have a pessimistic hunter,
Uh-huh.
and you move your hunter in place to attack, the hunter will say, I don't know, man, I've got like a 46% chance of hitting that. But in reality, it's much higher. You don't know what the actual number is. Since they're pessimistic, you get a lower number every time. And it's like, it's so frustrating because you don't know. It's like, this is really crucial they hit it,
Yeah.
but I don't know what my percent chance of doing it is.
I will say this game does really interesting things playing with those particular aspects. Like characters can be drunk, and it took me a while to figure out what that was actually doing. But it's got that very XCOM style move where if you say move down this diagonal, and the character will just run in a straight path to that location. If they're drunk, they just weave.
Right.
They're weaving all over the place. And I'm sure it affects like their accuracy too, but it's just I couldn't understand why I had one character that was constantly taking these stupid paths.
Did you name him Jeff Ramsey?
I didn't. Can you change their names?
Oh no, you can set house names, I think. And
Yeah,
I think
you
when
can
you
pick one to
first
start with, yeah.
start the game, you can choose whether you want like accurate or funny or
Yeah.
a combination.
I went with the combination. I
I
didn't get
did
any that were particularly silly though. I did get some battle cries that was like emojis
Oh,
or something
right.
like that, but
There was another thing I wanted to bring. Oh, so the game actually had what I thought was a really cool enemy type. That's something I'd never seen before. Since time was so important in this game, they had an enemy
yeah.
type called a Wrinkler,
Uh-huh.
which was if it melee attacked your characters, it would age them.
by 5 years, yeah.
Yeah, by 5 years every attack. So if you put old people on the field, they could die of old age from
Just
being
age out of existence.
right
in
attacked
front
by
of
a
you.
Wrinkler, which I thought was the first time I encountered a Wrinkler in the game. I was just like blown away. I was like, this is such an innovative idea for an enemy.
They played with that a lot. The lapses also were a very similar thing, where a lapse, if it was a ranged attacker, and if it hit you, you lost 150 experience, and you could actually de-level from that.
Yeah,
So,
I hated that.
and if you got hit more than once, essentially they were worth whatever you'd kill them for. So, sorry, they took away the amount of experience that killing them would result in. So if you got hit, you pretty much had to kill them the next turn, or you're going to end up with a permanent loss of experience.
Right.
With that character.
Right. It was there were a lot of cool mechanics like that. I thought was really interesting. They also gave you the ability in the keeps. You could set up same-sex couples to rule over that area, and the game told you that they could adopt, and that's how you would.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how the bloodline would progress. I thought, great. So I set up a couple of same-sex couples. I didn't realize that adoption was a manual process you have to go through with the Chalice.
Oh.
I thought they would adopt on their own, and I could just leave them, and they would just get kids as it were. But no, it's like one of the options, just like recruiting heroes in the Chalice.
That makes sense.
So I was like, oh fuck. So then it was like even more Chalice time I had to designate to trying to get more kids in there.
Yeah, the way the whole Chalice thing works is you would designate a research project, which finding heroes and things like that is research. And then most of the game, when you're not in the tactical map, takes place on basically just a timeline. And you are a ruler spit out from, into the magic waters of the Chalice, right? And bound to the throne. You can't leave. And you kind of had the longevity to watch this whole thing unfold. And just between things happening, you just hit right trigger and time advances at a very rapid pace. So 10 years blows by pretty quickly.
Yeah, so the game, like we said, takes place over 300 years, but it's not a super long game. I mean, you could probably finish it in 3 to 4 hours, maybe. I think I don't think I played it for terribly long. If I did play it for a long time, it flew by because I really enjoyed it.
I played it probably for more than 3 or 4 hours. You're further in than I am, but I have the same problem with this game that I have with XCOM, which is I can't let it go if I do something wrong.
Yeah.
So every battle, if I mess up, even to the extent that's the Wrinklers introduce a really particularly annoying aspect to that for the people like me, because it's like, oh shit, that guy's now 10 years older because he got hit twice. Fine, I'll do it all over again.
Yep.
Just reload from the beginning of the battle.
And there were a lot of choices you had to make with your characters as well. So you would build this giant stable of heroes, but there were other things you could build with the Chalice. I forget what it's called, like the research station, where you had to have like the Council of Elders or something. And
Sage right.
say that's it. And you would have to send people over there who could never come out. Like they would just sit there and they would never be in battle again. So when I had my one single bloodline that I had too many of, Sage rights, like all the time. I would just trying to get them out of there.
Which would reduce the time it took for research. Again, it played with that idea of taking heroes out of circulation constantly. So whenever you put them in a keep, to produce children, they can no longer take place, or they can no longer participate in battles unless that keep is attacked, in which case they are in the battle,
And
which was kind of cool.
Yeah, and there were other things as well. Like there were random events where a hero would come to you with a vision or something, and you could choose whether or not to send them out in search of it.
I discovered apparently I have the worst luck in the world. I don't know about you, but I looked those up, and there have, at least the wiki for Massive Chalice has a breakdown of the percentage chance, or at least I guess it's estimated. I don't even know if they have the right numbers, but percentage chance of certain outcomes for each option that you pick. Invariably, I would get the worst outcome. I did not have a single time where I had a good outcome.
I don't think I had any good outcomes either. I think they were all bad. It was like, oh, cool, my hero's gone for 40 years, and now he's crazy.
Yeah, it comes back completely insane, or I think the mother was trying to have a kid and it ended up getting sick, and I lost both of them. It's like I had to send one hero to jail.
Oh, I did too. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I sent a hero out to investigate something on the edge of the darkness, and they were just like, "Fuck it, I couldn't do anything about that, and I met someone, so I'm just not coming back."
Yeah. It was a really fun game. I don't, I would recommend it. I played it on the Xbox One. I don't know if it's on any other platform.
I don't know.
Did you play on the Xbox One also?
I did, yeah, because I had picked it up when it was free.
Yeah, so did I. That's the whole way I'd heard about it, was when it came out as part of Games with Gold.
Thought it had some really clever things to the battles. I think in some ways it makes you want to play XCOM more. Like that may have been the best thing it did, was it made me want to go play XCOM some more, just because it didn't have as advanced of like a cover system. There was a whole mechanic of sightline blocking, but there wasn't like partial cover, full cover.
Right.
But I mean, it had some other mechanics kind of made up for it. And honestly, it was really enjoyable. Yeah, I have no big complaints about the game.
Yeah, I think if anybody was like a turn-based strategy fan, like that type of turn-based combat, like you see in XCOM, I would definitely recommend it to them.
Yeah.
Or if anybody's interested in like eugenics projects and crossbreeding families and fighting things that make you older.
Yeah, all of those.
Yeah, well, I think we're just about ready to
all right.
figure out what we're doing.
Let's see what the cylinder has for us today.
Cylinder of selection. The cylinder of selection looks a little different today.
I didn't do my homework.
Meg's
I'm so afraid because when we did this in rehearsal, I almost took the tape like that.
I'd help, but it's more fun to watch.
We would be the greatest circus act of all time.
So Meg's gonna pick our cylinder of selection.
What do we got next?
Do-do-do.
Did you?
It's from the community, and it's called From Dust.
From Dust.
I think I've heard of that one.
I've never heard of that one.
Let me look it up real fast. Normally Ashley's here. I just realized, and she's the one who always looks up.
She always has her laptop
game
with
for
her.
us.
She's always so prepared, and we are not. From Dust.
From Dust game.
Bloop, 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 bloop. Arcade game.
Oh,
Steam.
I remember this one. It's an open world god game developed by Peter Molyneux. Wait.
Really?
Wait, is that the thing where
No,
everybody tapped it?
It's a spiritual heir to Populous. Developed by Peter Molyneux.
Which is better than the actual heir to Populous, because that
This is
went
From
bad.
Dust.
Wow, they're way faster than us, Gus. Do I get to be a worm?
Well, they've got
Build
computers.
a bridge of earth to bring the men to the first totem.
Yeah, this came out in 2011.
Community, you better not have fucked up.
So it's on Xbox Live Arcade, Windows, PSN, and Google Chrome. All right.
Cool.
So we'll go ahead and check that out, and we'll be back next week to talk about From Dust. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Bye.